Welcome to another edition of the channel's Mailbag. So what is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is the part of the channel that you guys actually control. It's based on comments, questions, general feedback that you guys leave either on the YouTube channel, the website, or through one of my social media feeds. Mailbag contains what I think the answer is, what I think my view of the comment is, or sometimes, I just throw it out to the wider audience and say, what do you guys think? That's what Mailbag is. So let's get in to the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment question comes from Mr. Darley67, and this was in response to Roland R-8 removing the display from the Donor R8. Restoration part 3 I did in June 2025. And Mr. Darley writes, from a techie perspective, it's an absolute nightmare trying to fix encryption where they adopted to use custom-made components over standard off-the-shelf components. I saw a Cintar video of them trying to fix the Yamaha CS80, and even Yamaha can't help getting the customized ICs made specific for the CS80, probably made to get in the GX1 design squeeze into something, into a somewhat more compact form. Even the base display tech probably is very standard. Those very standard. Those printed blocks and columns on the top protecting plastic layer makes this practically impossible to replace over 2 decades after the things went out of production. Completely agree. Replacing the screen has been an absolute nightmare. But what I will say, just put my finger on where I am in my notes, is it turns out it's not the display that's the problem. Anyway, not sure if it's possible to scavenge the top layer from a defective display if you could find a new base LCD with the same measurements and stats. It seems delicate enough to me to even try to get a new backlight placed behind an old LCD display, which was the first solution I read about when trying to fix my Core T3. Burnt out backlight as the cheapest solution instead of just costing out cash for a brand new replacement LED screen. I've come across a few instruments where they have custom chips, custom components in, and they are an utter nightmare. If that's that component that's gone, I think you're kind of in parting out territory, to be honest. Now what I found was I found an R8 that was being parted out and managed to acquire it before it had been broken up. So that was kind of where the donor machine came from. The screen in the unit appeared to be fine, so that became the donor unit. Now, the Cintar model is to find old beat-up machines, extract them for parts without companies like Cintar, these old synths would basically not survive. That's the bottom line. They wouldn't survive. But the downside is that you're always cannibalising synths for the spares, so the pool of parts becomes lower and lower over time. Now, regarding the display, I did look to see if you could remove the top layer, but I can't see how it can be done. It seems to be pressed or lacquered. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's basically embedded in the display. There's no separate. You can't feel a ridge. I can't see how to unwrap it. If you could unwrap it. There was a recent video by a guy on YouTube from South America where he started sort of cloning the tech section of the R8 display, but to fully operate the R8 display, you need to see all the display, not just the tech section. So, while his video was about, 15 minutes of interest, I came to the conclusion at the end of it, well, actually, what he'd done was really interesting, but it was a complete waste of time if you couldn't replicate the whole thing. So, well done. Mr. South American chappie, but unfortunately, you haven't solved the problem, which is a shame. Now, when it comes to the other display issues, you have to work out, is it cost effective to replace the backlight or the whole display? Now, this is something I've been having conversations with various individuals about, because I've got various individuals who are, kind of fairly competent with a soldering iron and happy, modifying things. But I come back to this point, okay, which is I only want to do the job once, okay, and how much is my time worth? So you may see me in the workshop, and yes, filming a video series about taking an instrument to pieces and putting an instrument back together is many hours of my time. For what you see as 10 to 20 minutes, or maybe as I've just done with the R8, 10 episodes of roughly somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. That would have been many hours in the workshop doing stuff. And I also have to then work out, actually, do I want to spend the time, trying to make the old display work when there is a perfectly good LED replacement for that display that somebody will modify for me, do the pinouts for me, and just give me a complete unit, and I just drop it in. Very much like you saw me do with the T1 restoration videos that are on this channel. That's exactly what I did. I just sat back and thought to myself, that would take me, I don't know, 3 hours or so to do that piece of work, work out what the pinouts were and etc. etc. I can pay somebody $45, $50 to do it for me. It's an absolute no-brainer. That one's an absolute no-brainer. So I'll always prefer a new LED, and I'll always, if I can, get somebody to actually make the unit up for me, so it becomes a plug and play.